If you like to be alone, chances are you've got a mindset most people will never understand. While some may assume that being alone means you're shy or antisocial, it's actually quite the opposite. Solitude reveals certain personality traits that can't be faked or forced. Traits that make you not just different, but exceptional. The reality is, people who thrive on alone time often have qualities that set them apart from the crowd, and those qualities are rarely talked about. In fact, these unique traits can explain so much about the kind of person you are, so watch till the end if you want to see exactly what makes you stand out. Let's get started. One of the most unique traits of people who like to be alone is that they don't care what people think. Most people waste their lives worrying about what others think. They filter their personality, overthink their decisions, and mold themselves into something acceptable just to fit in. But people who enjoy being alone have realized a long time ago that none of this nonsense actually matters. They understand that no matter what they do, someone, somewhere will have an opinion. So, instead of playing an endless game of please like me, they choose the far superior option, just not caring. But here's the thing, not caring about opinions doesn't mean being rude or reckless. It means being free. Free from the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing, free from the need for approval, free to make decisions without checking a social media poll first. People who like being alone have mastered the art of living on their own terms, and there's nothing more powerful than that. Secondly, people often find them intimidating. Insecurity makes people uncomfortable around those who don't beg for attention. That's why the quiet, self-assured type often gets labeled as intimidating or unapproachable. But in reality, it's not intimidation. It's just the reaction of people who aren't used to being around someone so unapologetically comfortable in their own skin. Not everyone can handle a person who doesn't seek approval, doesn't overshare, and doesn't fall into the usual social games. That kind of self-possession makes others nervous. The silence, the lack of neediness, the refusal to explain every thought. It creates an aura that some people just don't know how to deal with. 3. Social validation means nothing to them. There's no desperate need to impress coworkers, random strangers, or even friends. Approval from others isn't a priority because they already approve of themselves. Compliments are nice, recognition is fine, but neither defines their worth. This mindset makes them incredibly free. Free to dress how they want, think how they want, and live exactly as they see fit, without constantly looking over their shoulder for approval. Most people spend their lives adjusting their behavior just to fit in. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny, follow trends they don't actually like, and agree with opinions just to avoid conflict. That's exhausting. Those who enjoy solitude operate differently. If something doesn't align with their values, they don't entertain it. If a group doesn't accept them for who they are, they walk away without hesitation. That level of self-trust is rare. The next interesting thing about people who like to be alone is that they have a calm and mysterious personality. Most people walk into a restaurant alone and immediately feel awkward. They grab their phone, pretend to text, or stare at the menu for way too long just to avoid looking like a loser. Meanwhile, a true loner, he just sits there, relaxed, taking in the atmosphere, watching people rush through their lives like he's in some kind of human documentary. This kind of quiet presence gives off a mysterious vibe. People can't figure him out because he doesn't feel the need to overshare or fill the air with meaningless words. While everyone else is too busy talking just to talk, he's simply existing, and that's what makes him stand out. Nothing is more intriguing than someone who isn't trying to impress anyone at all. 5. They are selective with their social circle. Most people collect friends like they're hoarding Pokemon cards, always surrounded by a crowd, constantly texting, never spending a moment alone. Not because they want all those people around, but because they need them to feel normal. A loner doesn't have that problem. His social circle isn't built on desperation, it's built on choice. Letting someone in isn't automatic. There's no rush to fill space with just anybody. Every person in his life is there for a reason, not just because he's afraid of being alone. That's why the friendships he does have tend to be stronger, more genuine, and actually mean something. Number 6, they are often old souls. A loner walks through life like he's seen it all before. There's a calmness in the way he carries himself, an unshakable awareness that most things people stress over are just temporary distractions. He sees through the noise, the trends, the endless cycle of pointless drama that keeps most people entertained. That's because he doesn't just experience life, he actually processes it. While others are hyper-focused on the latest gossip, chasing approval, or acting like whatever TikTok tells them to be, a loner is deep in thought, connecting dots most people don't even see. It's not that he's uninterested in the world, it's that he views it from a perspective far beyond the surface level. He thinks before he speaks, understands before he reacts, and carries the kind of wisdom that only comes from actually paying attention. 7. They have quiet confidence. Loud confidence is easy to spot. It's the guy who won't stop talking about how alpha he is, or the woman who over-explains how strong and independent she is. Quiet confidence is different. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation, doesn't need an audience, and doesn't require a performance. People who love solitude don't seek external approval because they already approve of themselves. They're not overcompensating, they're not putting on a show, and they don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. When they walk into a room, they don't announce their presence, but somehow people notice. Not because they're loud, but because they have nothing to prove. And that is the most powerful energy a person can carry. The loudest guy in the room is usually trying to convince himself that he's confident. But the quiet one, sitting in the corner, enjoying his drink, lost in his own thoughts, is the man who actually is confident. People who like being alone don't need to announce their worth because they already know it. 8. They value their time more than most people. A person who enjoys solitude doesn't waste time on meaningless interactions. They don't do things just for the sake of doing them, and they definitely don't entertain pointless drama. Every minute is valuable, and they make sure it's spent wisely. Whether that's reading, learning something new, or just enjoying a moment of peace. This is why they don't tolerate energy-draining people, while others are busy overbooking their schedules with things they don't even enjoy. A loner is living on his own terms, with zero regrets. 9. They are naturally more mentally strong. Being alone forces a person to develop mental toughness, and this is because there's no constant validation, no emotional crutches, no group to hide behind when things get rough. It's just them, their mind, and their ability to face life head-on without relying on others to hold them up. This makes them resilient. While others crumble at the first sign of struggle, they've already been through the fire alone and come out stronger. They don't seek comfort in numbers. They create their own inner strength, and that's the kind of power most people will never understand. Lastly, they often think differently. Most loners process the world in a way others never do. The constant observation, the deep thinking, the ability to sit in silence and actually reflect, it all adds up. While the average person reacts to life in real time, a loner sits back, watches the patterns, and sees the bigger picture. This perspective makes them seem wise beyond their years. Things that stress others out seem insignificant because they've already thought 10 steps ahead. Trends, gossip, meaningless drama, it's all just noise. Instead of getting swept up in it, they analyze, process, and move differently. It's not that they don't understand the world, it's that they understand too much of it. In conclusion, understand that enjoying your own company isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It means you don't rely on the crowd to define you, and you're completely comfortable being who you are without needing constant validation. The world may not always understand people like you, but that's because you're built differently, and that's a good thing. So keep embracing your solitude, keep thinking deeply, and keep moving at your own pace. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content like this.